Hello and welcome back to another episode of bigbusiness.co.in, where our goal is to grow your business. In this episode, we're going to talk about rejected goods or abundant goods in exports. So, what is this rejected or abundant goods? Why would that happen in export business? See, basically, in business, it's all about communication. Communication is key to everything. Okay, and on top of communication, you have what you call an understanding between the parties. And when you have a good understanding with the parties, you build a relationship. Okay, so when there's a problem with the communication or with the relationship, if the relationship goes sour, then you have a problem in business. So particularly in this particular episode of abundant goods or rejected goods, so there are many reasons for it to get rejected by the importer or the buyer overseas, or reason for it to get abandoned. So abundant means basically nobody's willing to touch it. So the buyer says, I don't want, this is not mine. I don't want to spend money further to import it or to clear it and take it to my factory or something like that. So abundant goods or rejection goods can happen in two places. One is inside the port, or one is after clearance from the port and then when it reaches the buyer's factory. So in this episode, we're going to talk about stuff that is happening inside the port, before it's getting cleared. So what are the reasons? Why would it happen? And how to overcome it? All right. So basically, there are many reasons for an importer to abandon or reject the goods. So probably he didn't order it. You might be wondering, if he didn't order it, why would the product come there in the first place? But then it has happened to me itself. This particular year in 2022 itself, a shipper had sent goods without even informing me or taking my permission. So this is one reason, without any prior information. All right. Second thing is, yes, you know that the goods are coming, but it has come late. The market has crashed. The prices have gone down. So the importer does not want to put his hand on it now, because maybe he didn't pay anything at all, or maybe even if he paid 30%, he feels that the 30% loss is much better than spending more money on it and taking it out, and probably the price is crashed, or maybe the season is over, maybe there's a delay in the shipping. So the importer might feel that now it's too late, or it's not worth it to put my hand on it. So that could be another possible reason as to why the importer would not show any interest in taking the goods out. And the third thing is the quality. Maybe the importer went and inspected the quality once the goods arrived, and then maybe it was not up to the mark. The third thing could be quality. Maybe the importer had gone to the port, and with the customs department's permission, he had gone and inspected the goods by opening the container and checking as to what the condition of the goods are. And probably if he's not satisfied with the product, especially perishable goods, then probably that could be one valid reason why the importer does not want to touch the goods and why he wants to reject it or abandon it altogether. Okay, so these are some of the few reasons as to why people would reject the goods or abandon the goods. And the last reason is actually a little bit kind of hard to believe, but then it happens in some kind of Middle East countries, especially in Egypt, I was told. The point is, actually they do have a cartel, by which they one consignee, one importer pays you a little bit of token advance or maybe no advance. Then he says, okay, you send the goods here, then after that we will clear it and take it. But upon arrival, he does not pick up the phone, does not answer your emails, doesn't do anything at all. And then what happens is, the you are caught in a crossfire. You don't know what to do next. So now you have done an export with a great hope, thinking that you have found a good buyer in, let's say, Egypt in this particular example, and then you're quite happy that your goods have landed over there safely. But now the problem is, the buyer does not handle your phone call. He doesn't even reply to your emails. He don't know where he is, right? And your container is now stuck at the port. Now, the way the cartel operates is, you had sold your goods to Mr. A. Now, all of a sudden, Mr. B comes into the picture. He's a total stranger. You don't know him. You never met him before. You have never spoken to him earlier. But then Mr. B calls you on the phone and says, hey, I came to know that your container is lying over here in Port Said. So if you're interested, maybe I can clear the goods for you. But of course, the catch here is, he's going to ask you for below market prices. Okay. So what does this benefit actually? For all you know, Mr. A and Mr. B are actually working hand in glove together, and then the whole idea is to knock the price off and get it at 50% off, and then they will share the spoils, they will share the benefits among themselves and leave you in lurch actually. So this is how the cartel works. So now we have seen the many ways in which your product can get stuck in overseas and get as abundant container or rejected goods. So now we have spoken about the problem. Now we look at what is the solution for this actually. So now you should remember again specifically we are talking about product that is inside the port, not layered and gone outside the port. Okay. So in this case, what are the scenarios by which we can tackle this problem? The first and most simplest thing is to renegotiate with your buyer. Talk to him again, try to solve it amicably and see if you can arrive at a solution. If at all, even if it's your mistake or no mistake, you need to compromise because other solutions that we might speak about in the future, I mean after this, might be an expensive one actually. So the best thing is you can better call your buyer and ask him as to what best we can do to settle this problem first. So that is the simplest of all that you can think of. Okay. If the negotiation doesn't work, if the buyer doesn't bother about what is going on, or if he says no, I'm not in any way responsible for this, you do whatever you want, then the next best thing is if you have other clients in the same country, if you have other buyers in the same country, probably you can go back to them and say, okay, explain to them saying that, okay, look, I had brought this container for this particular gentleman, now he refuses to take it. Okay, I understand this is a problem. So please try to help me out, and we will see as to how we can work together on this actually. So if the other buyer is really in need of the product, and if he says, okay, then it's not a problem, maybe he'll try to help you. But again, here one more issue is if the original buyer and the new buyer whom you're talking to are friends, are in the same line and they're not competing with each other, then probably the chance of you scoring a good rank over there is difficult because they want to maintain their relationship in that particular country rather than help you. Okay, maybe let's say Mr. X, the new buyer whom we're approaching, he knows that Mr. A is at fault, but still he would not help you because Mr. A and Mr. X are probably good friends and they meet each other quite often, so in this particular situation he will say, sorry, I understand the situation, sorry, but I can't help you. So if that happens, then again you need to look at other various other solutions that you can go for. Okay, so as I said, solution number two is go look for other buyers. Now number three, most of the countries have agents working for these kind of products actually. There is always an end buyer and then there are middlemen or agents or commission agents in this particular field actually in the export import business. So probably you can approach the agents, they might probably they can help you out. Okay, number four again is an expensive deal. You can reship it out of that particular country. Okay, so probably you can take it back to your own country if you think that the goods are worth it and it makes sense to cover the cost of bringing it back to your country and all this stuff, or you can re-export it to another country. Okay, nearby country, of course, we're talking about. So that is another possibility, but again, these are all very expensive. This is logically yes, but practically very, very difficult, taking into consideration the paperwork and the cost involved in all these activities. Right? And last but not the least, if there is no other choice, no other option, there's nothing else to do but to give the container for auction. And in this kind of scenario, it's going to be a very, very long legal battle. So you need to write to the shipping line, and then you tell them this is what happened. You need to explain it, and then you can say, I don't have any other buyers, so please put the goods for auction. And what will happen is in this scenario, it will go for auction, and some buyers probably, if they like the goods, might come and take it up. Of course, it's going to be at below market prices, very, very low prices, throwaway prices, and then the shipping line will cover that cost first. And if there's anything left over, then they will give you the balance back to you in your account. Again, it's going to take a long, long, long time for the money to reach you, if at all there is any. Okay, please understand, if at all there is any money left, even to get that money is going to take months together actually. All right. I usually say banks and shipping lines are deaf. They never listen to what their clients say. It's a one-way traffic. Money has to go to them, but getting out the money out of their system is very, very difficult. So these are the ways in which you can solve the problem. And it is always best to act fast, because in these kind of situations the demurrage and detention charges at the destination port will be piling up, and each day it can be anywhere between $50 to $100 per container, depending on your destination, depending on the size of the container and so many other factors. Okay, this is just benchmark figures. So you need to act fast. So to avoid all this hustle, you need to have a good communication channel and a very good relationship between you and your buyer. Be very transparent, tell them very clearly about what you can do, what you cannot do, and make a sales contract. Protect yourself legally with those kind of sales contract. And if there's anything else that goes out of your hand beyond the scope of the contract, then probably you can go for a legal war. But again, everything takes time and money. So the best thing is to avoid such things. And what to do if they say some things are not in your hand? Maybe you have done everything in good faith, but on the other hand, people have purposely done something wrong, and you, the shipper, is liable to pay for the charges at the destination port until the container is cleared and the empty container comes back. Okay, it doesn't mean that okay, I've stuffed the goods here at the source country, the port of loading, and I've sent it, I've done my job. No, it's not like that. In shipping line business, until the empty container comes back to their container yard, you, the shipper, are responsible for it. Okay, that's how it works. You might not like it, but that's how it works. So please be careful about your exports, and try to maintain a good relationship with your buyers. You think that this is bad news, then there's another bad news waiting for you. In this kind of a scenario where the containers get abandoned or not picked up by the buyers, you have another problem also. You need the NOC from the buyer, that is no objection certificate, if in case the container is already landed in the port of destination. If it is not landed, and before it lands itself we have a problem with the buyers, then probably you can change your BL and change your documentation and sell it off to another buyer. Okay, but in case if your container has already landed at the port of destination, and if the manifest has been made already by the port authorities in the port of destination, then you are in big problem, because as per the law, as per maritime law, you need NOC from the buyer. If the buyer refuses to give the NOC, then it's going to be another big problem altogether, and that is going to drag, keep on dragging for a long time actually. Okay, if the shipping line says that okay, the container has reached the port and it is the obligation of the buyer to remove it, and if it doesn't remove it from the port, then you cannot just like that move it to another person over there in the same country. You need the NOC of the buyer. And so in this case, if the NOC is not available, say for example, again as in this case, if Mr. A is not traceable, he's not answering your calls, not answering your emails, or even if he answers your calls and answers your emails, he's not willing to give the NOC, neither willing to clear the container nor willing to give the NOC, then you're in big soup actually. So you need to take this case higher up, to the next level. Maybe you need to complain to the embassy, and it goes on and on and on actually, non-stop nonsense. So this is a big headache in import export business. So just be careful before you choose your buyers, and be very transparent with what you speak to them and what are your terms of conditions and all this stuff actually. Otherwise, if there's a small slippage somewhere and the buyer wants to protect himself actually, if you have already received the money also 100%, still you have the problem if the buyer does not pick up the container from you. So be careful about it.